There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. And be who you are and let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. See when new eyes allow and unfold. Embrace and let go. Trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love and welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. And be who you are and let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here, and you are welcome here. And breathe in and out. Slowly feel all that's around you, and all that you feel, and all that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. And be who you are and let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. Yeah, when we unite. Oh, 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 when we unite. Yeah, yeah, when we unite. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. And peace is welcome here. And you are welcome here.
Good morning. My name is Diana Johnson. I proudly serve the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta as a licensed practitioner. Please join with me as we do the call and response. How I choose to think creates my personal experience. Therefore, I choose to think affirmatively. I choose to speak affirmatively. I choose to live affirmatively. Not only is this my right, it is my responsibility as a conscious being. I allow myself to be guided, used, and available for the reawakening of everyone's magnificence. The moment is now, and I say yes, and together we say, and so it is.
And so it is. Good morning, Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. Good morning, family, gathering here all over the country. Good morning, California and Texas and Oregon and Alabama and Atlanta and Greater Atlanta and Georgia, everywhere where you are. Welcome into this space that we are creating together this morning called Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta, live on Facebook and live on YouTube as well. So good morning to all of our YouTube watchers. We love you. We appreciate you. We're glad you're here. We are sending special prayers and heartfelt connection to all of our family, friends, and connections in the great state of Texas this morning, as well as everywhere else in our nation that has been severely hit by the winter weather. And so if you know of anybody, if you don't know of anybody, know that the members of our CSL family, CSL Dallas was hit pretty hard, had pipes burst in their sanctuary and had some severe damage. So we are sending our thoughts and prayers, but also beginning to contemplate and be in communication about how we can serve and help them in the recovery efforts. So we want to begin with that. Welcome again to Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. We are a community that for over 40 years has been sharing the message of new thought, anchored in the teachings of Ernest Holmes and the science of mind, and boiling it all down to one very simple truth. And that truth is, you belong. So welcome into this space. I'm David Alexander. I'm proud to be the spiritual director here. And I want to share with you some things that are happening so that you can plug in just beyond our Sunday moment here and get the most out of your spiritual experience. First and foremost, our circulation opportunity to participate in giving and receiving. We're so grateful for the 160 members of our community who have a pledge set up. That means they give on an automatic reoccurring basis, and they have it automatically set up, and that creates the foundation of our committed giving. And we're so grateful to each and every one of them. It doesn't matter what amount you set up in reoccurring giving, but doing so helps stabilize our operations. We are looking always for people to join us at what we call the sustaining level, which is $200 a month, which works out to about $50 a week or more, if you're able to, but whatever amount you choose, and if it's just one time today that you choose to participate because you are receiving something from the service, know that we are grateful for it. We want you to participate in the law of giving and receiving and circulation in your life. Easiest way to do that is through the text to give number on your screen. The other ways to do it are via our website or mailing in a check. You'll find all that information at our website, slca.com/donations. And we will do the affirmation for our grateful giving a little bit later on in the service. I'll tell you some things that are happening. First of all, today, right after today's service, our Women in Truth group is gathering. And you got to pre-register for that. You can do through the Zoom link or the registration link that's going to be shared in the chat, or find it through our Facebook page under events. And today their special guest is Doris Shannon. She will be sharing with them, with all of our Women in Truth attendees, some spiritual enlightenment and wonderful, rich conversation happening there. So look forward to that happening this afternoon. Later on this week, we have our Lunch and Learn, a spiritual mind treatment with practitioner Jean Bell. This is going to be a special 2-hour Lunch and Learn from 11:30 to 1:30 Eastern Time. Jean Bell, who is our education director, ministerial intern, and just a powerful practitioner in her own right. You want to dive into this class and get perhaps a refresh or a new insight into the power of affirmative prayer that we teach and anchor our philosophy in here. So that's happening Tuesday the 23rd at 11:30 Eastern Time. Then on Wednesday, that's this coming Wednesday, the 24th, we have our second annual Say Their Names Remembrance Service. We started this last year, somewhat spur of the moment, inspired by some events that happened, and I wanted to gather the community together to publicly grieve the loss of Black and brown bodies to police violence, and to bring that into our spiritual consciousness, to lift those names up, and to rededicate ourselves to the work of creating a world that works for everyone. It was a very powerful service if you were there. And so this year we have put that together virtually, and it will be broadcast on this Wednesday at 6 o'clock. And it will be followed by our normal Wednesday night Living the Science of Mind gathering. So you can stick around for that and do some deep dive on that. You got to register to get the Zoom link for that. But on the Say Their Name service, we'll be broadcasting that out. And we really encourage you to not only participate, but to share it on your social media platforms and let people know that Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta is a place that is committed to doing this work. And our healing begins in our remembering. And so that's what we're going to be about 6 o'clock Wednesday night. Thank you for that. And then a little bit later on, coming down the road, speaking of committing to the work of justice in the world, we have a wonderful and powerful class, 8-week class called Unpacking Whiteness, Seeing Race. This is primarily for Caucasian folks, but not exclusively. If you are interested in trying to understand the construct of race, how it got created, and unpacking that, that's what this class is all about. Wonderful teacher, Jen Moore, who is a educator, feminist, scholar, and advocate in Portland, Oregon. And I've partnered with her before, and she's done this work in spiritual communities before. And so I'm so grateful to be bringing her and introducing her to you. This is going to be a very, very powerful class to look at how to unpack and unravel some of the false ideas and beliefs that have been embedded in our consciousness, manifested themselves in our culture, and are the actual roadblocks to creating a world that works for all. So we know that anything that the mind can do, the mind can undo. We want to undo those things so that we can clear the path for more justice and peace in our world. And that's what we're about. So that begins with that education. That begins on March 22nd. It's a Monday night. It will go for 8 weeks at 7 p.m. So look for registration information for that. Finally, practitioners are available after the service today for prayer. All you need to do is private message them. If you see their names, their names will be scrolling, or they make comments saying that they're a practitioner on duty today, willing to pray with you. You can click on their name, send them a private message. We'll set up a space for you to do prayer, or you can message the center and we'll connect you as well. If you're watching on YouTube, simply reach out to us through our email online this morning, and we'll connect you, if not today, then very soon. We want to make sure everybody who's watching our service has the opportunity to pray with a practitioner, either now or in the near future, if that's what you are needing in your life right now. Our practitioners are available to you always, and it's their great delight to connect with you in this way. All right, that is a little quick rundown of what's happening right now at SLCA. I want to throw it back to our musical director, Penelope, who's going to introduce a special guest for us this morning. Good morning, everyone. We love you. We appreciate you. Glad you're here. You belong. Let's have a great day.
Yes, you belong. You belong. Thank you, Reverend David. It's so good to be with everyone this morning. Good morning. I'm going to be sharing, introducing actually, an artist who's not yet been with us in our community, if you will. She's a resident of Atlanta, and she's actually the daughter of a colleague of mine, Melvin Jones, who's an amazing trumpet player and arranger. He was just recently was featured in the Star Spangled Banner at the Super Bowl. So I mean, you can see where we're going here. Melvin Jones and his wife Janae Marie Jones. They have a beautiful daughter. Many of you may have seen her in the hit film Hidden Figures in 2016. Their daughter, Selah Kimbrough Jones. Her most recent success includes Dolly Parton's Christmas on the Square, which was out last year, and a Netflix family series movie. And this year, she's starring in The Tiger Rising with Queen Latifah, Dennis Quaid, and Catherine McPhee. So we have her here with us this morning to share music for us for Black History Month. Please welcome Selah Kimbrough Jones.
Hi, I'm Selah Kimbrough Jones, and I'm in the 5th grade. Please stand while I sing Lift Every Voice and Sing, also known as the Black National Anthem.
So beautiful. Everything's beautiful. Really, when we have the eyes of beauty, that's what we see. This is our spiritual mind treatment. So just relax in your body, unfolding your arms and legs, and moving into our heart space. Whatever's beating our heart and breathing our lungs. This is our divine essence. This is the thing that connects all of us. We're all beating our hearts at the same time. We are not disconnected. We are really all one. We're made of the same material. We have the same emotions. There is no difference. When we see the beauty in others, we celebrate. When we feel the pain in others, we mourn. Of course, we're connected. And as we lift our own hearts up, everyone around us is also impacted by that. We think we're selfish, but we're not. When we glorify who we are, when we are humbled by life itself, there is no other. We affect each and everybody, each and every one. So sitting in this place of connectivity, no matter what the difference, no matter what our ignorant judgments are of ourselves or others, it's still one vibration. We're all units of the human body. And sitting in that glory, feeling that gratitude, no matter how alone we feel, we are connected, feeling that connection. So happy, feeling the gratitude. Any problems we have, there's an answer. So when we sit in receptivity and feel open, you can feel the connection. The answers are there. The resources are there. Never alone, always connected. Who we are influences others. Knowing this in our hearts, minds, and souls, we release this into the consciousness in full faith, and so it is.
With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. As I open and allow, I know right here and now, I create a world where wonders never cease. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. Through me.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Penelope, for anchoring us in that prayerful song, and Reverend Ursula for that wonderful spiritual mind treatment and affirmative prayer. And Selah, oh my goodness! Listen, Penelope, you didn't prepare me for that. I'm still a mess over here. I love that song. I love many versions of that song. but something about the sweetness of her voice and the innocence with which she delivered it just took me somewhere. So I'm still coming back from wherever that was. I got to see my notes through the tears this morning. Thank you for that. And how wonderful that that's a direct connection in our community to that family, a local family here in Atlanta. One of the things I love about SLCA is how connected we are to so many great people in the arts and in the community. So thank you, Penelope, for continuing to bring forward those great connections that we all get to benefit from in this spiritual place we're creating. Amen. Amen. Well, good morning, everyone. As I said, I'm trying to see if I can see my notes through through the teardrops here, still in my eyes. But our theme today is one mind, infinite connections. One mind, infinite connections. And as I mentioned in the top of the hour, our hearts and minds are on Texas and other parts of the country. So much, that storm just barely missed us here in Atlanta, but hit so many people, including up and down the East Coast. And so wherever people are still suffering the effects of that winter blast, we send our hearts out to them this morning. And as I said, I will be in close contact with our family at CSL Dallas and figure out ways that we might be able to be of direct support to the families in that spiritual community. One Mind, Infinite Connections. It was the theme of our annual Centers for Spiritual Living virtual conference, which just took place this last week. And every other year, we have a virtual conference online, and followed by a physical convention in which we do the business of the organization, and as well as have inspired speakers and music and workshops, etc. And so this year was virtual, and many of you were able to participate, and look forward to hearing your feedback of that. But I was very moved by the opportunity in the virtual format to connect with and hear the expressions of the science of mind philosophy spoken in Spanish from practitioners in Peru, to hear about our work in Kenya and how we will have ministerial students graduating, Kenyan ministerial students graduating next year, hearing about our work in the Ukraine and all over the world and all over the United States, and the various ways that even here in this country that we express differently, having the service broadcast from Hawaii and Albuquerque and Kentucky, and hearing the variations of the music and the speaking styles and all of that. It was just juicy and wonderful. And some great things happened in the business part of our convention, some elections that are related to our own SLCA family. And I wanted to let you know a big congratulations to our own practitioner, Deetra Johnson. She has become the chair of the nominating council. The nominating council or committee, I forget which term they use, but they are responsible for bringing forward slates of candidates to run for all of the elected offices within our organization, screening them, preparing them for the interviews and gathering their bios and all of that. And so what I want to say about that is, one, it's so wonderful to have Deetra Johnson now serving in that role. But I also want you to know that if you feel the call, there are many opportunities to serve in our organization. Not only elected office, but also just appointments on committees. I think we have like some 46 or 48 committees within the organization globally. So there's a place for you, whether you're a practitioner or a member at large. There's a place for you. So reach out to Deetra and let her know you're interested in serving. And we have really a wide swath of connection to SLCA that is serving within the organization, Deetra being one of them. The other, newly elected member to the Practitioner Council, Practitioner Victoria Peoples. So congratulations to our own Victoria, Practitioner Emeritus. That means she has been a licensed practitioner for over 20 years, and she will now be serving as an elected member of our Global Practitioner Council, which serves our body of over 3,000 licensed practitioners in the organization. And we also had the re-election of the member to the laity or member committee or council, excuse me, and that's Lee Valentine. Now, Lee Valentine has one foot still with us and one foot with Heart and Soul, and lives in DC, so he's all over the place. But as we have expanded our consciousness of SLCA and not bound by physical space, he will always remain a member of SLCA, and we're proud of him and proud of the work that he has been doing as chair of the member council, and now being reelected will continue to do. So thank you, Lee Valentine. Thank you, Victoria Peoples. Thank you, Deetra Johnson. We also have Baji Daniels serving as a representative for Region 9 for our practitioners, for our regional council. So all of these and more wonderful ways that people in SLCA are serving our global Centers for Spiritual Living community. Isn't that great? And I continue to serve on the Leadership Council, and we have not done officer elections yet. That it's going to come up this following week, and so I'll let you know how that goes. But just a big shout out to all of those wonderful people. You know, growing up with this principle in mind, one mind, infinite connections. It's something that, you know, as you begin taking classes and listening to sermons, you begin to hear this principle spoken in various ways over and over again. This idea that there's only one infinite intelligence, and it's connected to and through and in, through, and as all things, right? And I remember growing up hearing this principle and thinking to myself, well, what this means is that I have equal access, right? And what a powerful idea that is, equal access, right? Everyone has access. So right there in the very beginning, we're talking about something that is social justice oriented, right? Because we're talking about the equity of access. Hear that. Our spiritual principles are embedded with the notion of the equity of access. There's only one mind. It has infinite connections, and everyone has access to that one mind, to that wisdom of the universe. That meant for me that it didn't matter how lonely or disconnected or uninformed or outside of the loop or still growing on my path. It didn't matter how much of that I had going on in my head at any one particular time. The idea was within me, there was an intelligence, there was a guidance, there was a wisdom. And it was available to me if I would make myself available to it. And so if I didn't know the answer, if I felt like I was in over my head, the idea was there was a constant invitation to get still and to develop the practice to get in touch with the one mind that does know the answer, the one mind that does know the right thing to do in this moment, the one mind that does know the direction of things or the right order or the insight, right? This is long before Google and the internet, right? But it's kind of represented by that idea, right? The internet's sort of in ways, a physical representation, right? We can all log in and pull down whatever information we want to pull down. We can search and it will pop up, right? We can search and it will pop up, right? So it's a powerful thought, right? And so it begs the question, well, how do we access it? There is this one mind. How do I access that? How do I access this infinite intelligence that is all around me and within me? And of course, the answer is spiritual practice. And we access it through our prayers and through our meditation, through the capacity to develop mental equivalence, to slow ourselves down, to slow the breath, to open ourselves up, to simply be open to the idea that there's an intelligence that speaks through us, right? This idea that all we need to know is what it is that we want, and then let spirit do the work, right? Because there's a wisdom that knows how to do it. And so there's a liberation in that teaching, right? So equity of access and liberation. And the liberation is you don't need to figure it out. You don't need to figure out how to do it. You don't need to figure out how it's going to come together, but you need to have the dream. You need to have the mental equivalent. You need to have the vision. You need to have the idea. And for all of the things that rise up and say, yeah, but you don't have the money, you don't have the education, you don't have the access, you don't have you don't know the people, you don't know the blah, 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 blah. No, ours is not to fret and worry over that. Ours is to have the vision, the mental equivalent, the dream, the belief, and to hold that and to surrender the rest, allow spirit to do the work, allow spirit to plant the seed, if you will, and allow the law of the universe to work upon that seed and bring forth the object of our desire. So our job is to know what it is that we want. Raymond Charles Barker, the wonderful colleague of our founder, Ernest Holmes, and mentor and colleague to our own founder here at SLCA, Kennedy Schultz. Raymond Charles Barker used to have a practice of when he was sort of in a jam, when he didn't know what to do or everything he had tried had worked out. Can you relate to that energy, right? When you've tried everything, you're maybe having a conflict at work or at school or at home, or just within your own thoughts, and everything that you can think of to make it work hasn't moved. The issue hasn't progressed down the field, right? And so you're in that log jam. So he had a practice of when that would happen to him, because it happens to all of us, that he would go in his office, he would shut the door, he would sit down at this desk, and he had this big grand desk, and he would sit down behind his desk and he'd say, Barker, you need a new thought. And he would just sit and listen and wait until something came, right? And so that's embedded in that is this idea of how we access it, right? We quiet the mind. We get our own, as Emerson said, our own littleness out of the way, right? Our own ego bloated nothingness out of the way, and allow something bigger to speak through us, because there is that one mind that is seeking to move through us. Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind says, the divine incarnation is inherent in our nature. The divine incarnation is inherent in our nature. We are immersed in an infinite knowingness. The question is, how much of this reality are we going to express in our lives? The direct approach is always the best and most effective, he says. Insofar as anyone has spoken the truth, they have proclaimed God. It matters not what their particular approach may have been. The scientist, the philosopher, the priest, the professor, the humanitarian, the empire builder, all have caught some gleam of eternal glory, and each has spoken in their own tongue, the language of that which is universal. He goes on to say, let us do away with a ponderosity of thought and approach things simply and quietly. A ponderosity of thought. I love that line in the textbook, because so far as I know, Ernest Holmes is the only person I've ever come across who has used the term ponderosity. Ponderosity. Every time I read the line, I hear dun 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 dun. Okay, but ponderosity actually means heaviness, right? The heavy. Let us do away with the weariness and the heaviness of thought, and approach things simply and quietly. In other words, it doesn't have to be hard, right? The nature of the universe, he goes on to say, is to give us what we are able to take. It cannot give us more. It has given all. We have not yet accepted the greater gift. And so our job, again, is to focus on what it is that we want. There's one mind. That mind is moving in, through, and as you, and it has infinite connections, which means it has infinite possibilities. And it can bring forward the nature of your heart's desire. But you got to be clear. You can't be conflicted. So the first step of the work is to be clear about what it is that we want and not conflicted. Sometimes when we say we want things, we actually want things that aren't good for us. We actually want things that aren't good for other people. We actually want things that contradict our higher good. So it sounds simple enough to say, be clear about what it is that you want. But what we discover is that there's a great deal of spiritual work to be done to be really clear about what it is we want. Yes? And so we bring ourselves to a greater vision than the range of our present concepts. Holmes teaches us that we then can induce a greater concept and therefore demonstrate a greater experience. And so the question is, can I stay focused on the mindset of the desired feeling of what I want and how that feeling would be if it was made manifest long enough, focused on that, long enough without being distracted about the how, right? Not being distracted by the resource, the people, the connections. How is it going to come to be? Right? Focus here on it. What is it that you want? Focused here on what it is that you want. Not on the how, not on the path, not on the journey, not on the resources and people and steps along the way. What is the it? Can you stay focused right there long enough to allow spirit to bring forward greater possibilities? You are connected to all of the wisdom of the universe, but you have to let it flow through you. And you see, as soon as you are focused on the how, you're off of the it. Ooh. Let me say that again. I want you to get that. As soon as you are focused on the how, right, you're off the it. What is it? What is the it that you want? As soon as you let your eye come off of the it into the, well, I need to get this education and that thing, and I'm going to have to save up enough money, and I'm going to need, somebody's going to have to help me with this part, and I want, and then you think that your life is about achieving those goals, right? You begin to move into the activity of achieving and acquiring, the acquisition and problem solving mode of life, and you begin tackling all of these things on the journey, and you pat yourself on the back because you're doing a good job, and you're getting there, and you're getting there, and you're getting there. And what happens is, if you take your eye off of the it and you're focused on the how, you've lost the it, and suddenly the it drifts away, and you're moving and moving through the how, and suddenly you think, well, here I am. I've accomplished all of the check marks. I've done all of the things. I followed all of the rules. And so by my calculations, I should be here. I should be at the it that I've been dreaming about my whole life. And then you look up, and it doesn't look anything like what you thought it was going to look like, because your eye drifted. You're like, where'd the it go? Wait, this so according to my map, yep, I did that. I got the house, I got the partner, I got money going into my 401k. Yep. This should be happiness. How come I'm not happy? You see, when we lose focus of the it, when we focus on the how, we lose focus of the it. Our job is to focus on what it is that we want. And as we grow, something even greater than that happens. Because as soon as we begin to master that, something really amazing begins to occur. As you refine the skill, pretty soon you discover that you don't even need to focus on what it is that you want, right? You begin to care less and less about the it. And you actually begin to ask a different kind of question. And the question is, what is it that wants me? Whew, can you feel that? Right? And instead of moving through life focusing on what is it that I want, what is it that wants me? Ooh, ooh, I want you to feel that. And then the shift is from problem solving and acquisition to solution seeking and vision. Ooh, good God, I want you to hear me now. The shift from the department of problem solving and acquisitions, let me figure it out, let me problem solve, let me acquire all of the things, all of the degrees and all of the money and all of the checkpoints and all of the things along the way, let me acquire, right? Now you shift from problem solving and acquisitions to the department of solution being and vision. You begin to cultivate the space to be the solution. You get to cultivate the space to hold the vision, because there's something in the universe. Come on, somebody. There's something in the universe that wants you. It's not about you wanting your happiness. Happiness wants you. It's not about you wanting prosperity. Prosperity wants you. The abundance of the universe wants to flow through you. Health and well-being wants you. Divine relationship and partnership and collaboration in business and personal life, all of those things want you. The wholeness and the harmony. Ooh, come on, somebody. The wholeness and the harmony of the universe wants you. Can you see it? Can you feel it? Can you begin to identify with the solution and let the infinite connections of the universe do the rest? Can you identify with the solution, the vision, and let the infinite energy of the universe do the rest? In the Edinburgh Lectures, Judge Thomas Troward, chapter 6, titled The Law of Growth, my favorite chapter in that work, he says this: we do not put the self-expansive vitality into the seed, but we must sow it. And we might also, so to speak, water it by quiet contemplation, by quiet concentrated contemplation of our desire as an actually accomplished fact. But we must carefully remove from such contemplation any idea of a strenuous effort on our part to make the seed grow. Listen to this. We do not put the self-evident vitality, the self-expansive vitality, we do not put the self-expansive vitality into the seed. It's already there. The thing inside of the seed that makes an acorn and oak tree, you don't got to put that in there. It's already there. Spirit put that there. You don't have to put the self-expansive vitality of your divine well-being inside of you. It's already there. It was there when you were born. It was there before you were born, because you're an eternal spiritual being. Come on, somebody. It's already there. But you must sow it. What does it mean to sow the seed? Right, it's beginning to warm up here in Atlanta. Pretty soon, people are going to be buying flowers and getting their gardens and prettying up their yards. What is it to sow a seed? It means to put it in its proper place, where it has access. Watch this, to the infinite intelligence of the universe, because in the soil, it has access to the infinite intelligence. The seed sitting on my counter does no good, right? I mean, unless I'm trying to grow some roots on a potato or something like that, right? Put it in some water with some toothpicks. You all done this. Get it grow a little bit of roots. Then I can plant it in the ground, right? But otherwise, just sitting on the counter is not going to do me any good. I've got to put it in its proper place. I got to put it in the soil. I got to surround it so that it has access to the one mind, the infinite. He says, but we may also, so to speak, water it by quiet, concentrated contemplation of our desire as an actual accomplished fact. But we must carefully remove from such contemplation any idea of a strenuous effort on our part to make the seed grow. The seed will grow when it's in its proper place. The seed of wholeness, the seed of peace, the seed of prosperity, the seed of love, the seed of joy, the seed of right living, all of those seeds will grow in you when they are put in the right place, and you water them with the quiet, concentrated contemplation of your being, because you are in the department of solution being and vision, not problem solving and acquisition. And so infinite connections speaks of infinite possibilities, and infinite possibilities speaks of infinite solutions. We begin to practice surrendering the how. And when we surrender the how, this is what we mean by living the Christ mind, right? Putting on the mind of Christ, right? Did you notice that when that scripture says that we must have the same mind that was in Christ Jesus, that what it is to be Christ-minded is not to evacuate the body temple. Watch it now. I'm about to take a left turn and bring something home. Everything I just said, all the stuff I just said before was really good, but let's go a little bit deeper, okay? Putting on Christ mind does not mean evacuating the body temple. It's not about being so heavenly minded that we're no earthly good. No, in fact, we want to keep returning into this temple, into this body, into this realm, into this being, right? And if we put on that mind that was in Christ Jesus, we have to admit to ourselves that Jesus, as the great example, as he's received a new thought, was not only anchored in the infinite mind and infinite connections and the one mind moving through him, he was also intimately connected to the world around him, socially connected, highly engaged with the issues of the day, right? He was concerned with the welfare of others. He was a critic and prophetic voice to the evils of empire that put in place the systems of oppression and clan and race division. In other words, the mind of Christ was inherently socially oriented. It was to bring that possibility of one mind, infinite connections into everyday realm. The infinite connections are not just about the solution seekings to your life, but they are about the solution seeking to all of life. Watch this. There is one mind. That mind is in you, and you have infinite connection, not just to all the possibilities of the universe, but infinite connection. Watch this. To all of the challenges of the universe. And it occurs to me that in our philosophy, that's where we actually need to focus on the power and the potential of our teaching. It's not a new thought for me to sit here and tell you that there is one mind and you have infinite possibility, infinite connection to the possibilities of the universe. There's a line several miles long of spiritual teachers and ministers and practitioners that could come here today and deliver that message. What I want to tell you is that infinite connection also means that you are infinitely connected to all of the challenges of the universe. You're not separate from those in Texas. You're not separate from anybody anywhere in the world. that is struggling to manifest the greater good and harmony and wholeness of life, that have obstacles of oppression and systematic institutions of discrimination, classism, sexism, racism, etc., all of the isms that stand in the way of us creating a world that works for all. We're infinitely connected to all of that mess. But the good news is we're infinitely connected to all of the solution for that mess. And that to truly embody the Christ mind is to understand the intersection of both. We are, as Ernest Holmes says in the chapter on successful living, chapter 16, that we are not just a get-rich-quick scheme, right? This is not about making yourself happy and getting all the things that you want. He says in that chapter, in fact, it might be disastrous if you got all the things that you want, because you might want some things that aren't good for you. This is about embodying the universal wholeness of the universe and letting it flow through you so that we might make the world a better place. And when people asked Jesus about this one mind, infinite connection that he was embodying and carrying and sharing through his ministry, when they said, what is the most important thing to remember about this? What did he say? He said, first and foremost, you got to love God with all your mind, with all your heart, with all your soul. What does that mean? It means to be a full embodiment of the divine presence. Right? All your heart, all your mind, all your soul, right? All your heart, all your mind, all your soul. Love God with all of every aspect of your being. And then you got to love your neighbor as you first love yourself. The most important one, he says, that is the greatest commandment. In other words, he's saying, be eviscerated with the love and the vibration of the wholeness of your being, and then share that vibration, share that thing that is moving through every cell of your being. It's not just a warm and fuzzy love, it's actually a just love. Ooh, come on. That moved me right there. It's a just love. It's a love that seeks justice. It's a love that seeks to set things right. It's a love that seeks to reorder the things in the physical plane so that they better match as manifestations the divine template of the wholeness of the universe. And isn't that what we're doing in our teaching? When you're working on something in your life, aren't you trying to change the realm of the physical so that it becomes a better representation of what is already true in the mental? Isn't that exactly how we say our prayer works? Understand the template of wholeness as it relates to your prosperity, your health, your career path, your direction for this, your direction for that. Understand that there's already a template of wholeness that has it all figured out, and then invite yourself to be the place in physicality where it makes itself known. And Jesus was doing the exact same thing for his brothers and sisters. And he said the greatest way to practice this consciousness is to make the way for your neighbors, to love your neighbors as you first love yourself. Know for them what you know for yourself. Be the solution to somebody else's problem. Ooh, come on, somebody. Now, I know there's some people here. I know there's some people who have had, I know that I've had in my life times when somebody had to show up and be the solution for me because I could not figure it out on my own. And I didn't go begging for a handout. I didn't go, searching and playing the victim. But I practiced these principles and stood in the possibility. And when I stood in the possibility that I was dedicating my life, I remember when I started my ministry. I started my ministry at a big church in Oregon that 2 years after I got there went bankrupt. And that's a big, long story. I don't have time to tell all of it right now. But there I was, thought I was king of the world, running a youth program that had more people in it, more children in it than most of our churches have in it today. And I thought I was king of the world, had an apartment and a car and a this and a that, and it all disappeared. Paycheck disappeared, all of that disappeared. And yet there was an emerging of something that became the center that I ran for 15 years in Oregon, that possibility was emerging. And they said, stay with us. And Spirit was speaking to me to be dedicated to this thing which was emerging, but there was no safety net. I didn't know where my next paycheck was coming from. I didn't know how soon we'd get established. I didn't know how much money we'd have in the bank, what we would agree to pay the leaders of that new thing. No, we didn't know any of that. And yet we were moving forward. We were moving forward. We were moving forward. And I remember one day, as I just stood in the solution and I stood in the possibility, I said, Spirit's guiding me. Something is happening here. This is the it is to be of service to what is trying to happen here. And there's a wholeness, there's a divine right order, there's a divine expression of spiritual truth that wants me in service to it. And so I say yes. And I let go of how rent's going to get paid next month. I let go of all of those other things. And I remember somebody walked up to, I remember exactly who it was. His name was Kevin Buckingham Hayes. He walked up to my car as I was leaving one day. And he made some joke about me having time to hope you have time to watch the football game this afternoon. And I said to him, I don't have a TV. And I said, I think the game is on ESPN and I can't afford cable. And I didn't say it in a, begging way or a, victimization way. I just, matter of fact, but something clicked in him. He said, this guy is dedicating himself to us and he's kind of just hanging out there with not a lot of resources under him. And so the next Sunday, wouldn't you know it, he walked up to my car again after the service and he handed me an envelope that was about that thick, several $100s that he had collected from the men's group. He had gone around and told each of them, we got to do something to just hold this kid stable. I say kid, I was about 28 years old at the time. All right. So until we get this new thing started up, he needs some support. And don't you know that the money that was in that envelope was just enough to take care of my needs and take the worry and the fear and the fret off of the table so that I could stay focused on what was happening with that community? I need to tell you something today. I wouldn't be in ministry today at Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta if it wasn't for those 2 moments in that parking lot in Beaverton, Oregon, almost 20 years ago. I stayed focused on the one mind, being the solution, holding the vision. I let go of the how, but hear me, somebody else stepped in to being the solution. Sometimes we got to be the solution for somebody. Sometimes, as my friend Bishop Bonnie Radden says, we got to be somebody. Oh, come on, somebody. You got to be that word of encouragement. You got to be that financial gift. You got to be that door opening opportunity. You got to be that resource sharing. You got to be that, hey, you know what? I know somebody somewhere up there that has let me give you their phone number. Let me make a phone call for you. Let me just give you a word of encouragement today. You got to be somebody. As you hold as we encourage people to hold the vision for what's possible, we have within us solutions for everything that ails us in this society, but it means that we've got to step in and be somebody sometimes, because we are all connected. Can you feel what I'm saying here? We can be the solution for a world that works for all. We can hold the vision of education systems that are committed to teaching nonviolent communication. We can hold visions of communities where restorative justice gather momentum. We can hold the vision for governments that frame policies that honor multicultural values. We can hold the vision for ecological appreciation, where the ecology and the economy go hand in hand in ways that amplify good rather than usurp resources and extract value from our land to put a burden on future generations. We can hold a vision of a sustained and interconnected life and interdependence of all life, and a spirituality that expresses beyond dogmatism, competing religious ideologies, and that move beyond all of that to affirm a universal oneness, that express the beauty of the uniqueness of each of our teachings, but step into a universal oneness and allow the human vibration to move up to another level. Oh, somebody, come on, talk to me. And this is not new to New Thought. I'm going to close with this. In 1919, over 100 years ago, Horatio Dresser, who wrote the first book on the history of New Thought, understood the interconnectedness between our personal development and what I spoke of last week, which was the station of liberation that we want to move to, right? We don't want to get stuck at the intersection of personal development and enlightenment. Enlightenment and self-awareness, Ernest Holmes said self-awareness is not enough. Enlightenment is the booby prize to personal development. Right? We want to move from personal development to the station of liberation, to be an emancipation from discord of every nature, and that goal is sure to be attained by all. But in 1919, Horatio Dresser, in the History of New Thought, said this. He said, "We now see plainly that all true peace is social. Our nation was brought out of its isolation into prominence as a world power to secure this large and lasting peace. As a result, we realize that justice is social. We are all pondering over the nature of social justice. We are all aware that this is the great issue. Now that we have turned from the war, it was World War I he was referencing there, as an external enterprise to interpret the warfare of classes, we are now pleading for a moral and spiritual consideration as eagerly as ever. But we see that, strictly speaking, the moral and spiritual are neither subjective or objective. They are social. Strictly speaking, the moral and spiritual are neither subjective or objective. They are social. Hence, we look for every clue that points towards cooperation and brotherhood. There is only one mind. That one mind moves through infinite connections. It is connected to all of the challenges in the physical plane of our vision that stand in the way of our vision of creating a world that works for all. And that one mind is connected to all of the solutions to eradicate those problems and to bring forth greater vibrations of wholeness, living in the planet as you and as me, as you and I say yes, not only to the vision, but to the responsibility to be the solution in the midst of building that vision. I'm so grateful that we are building a community here and around the nation called Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta that understand that are dedicated to that, and that are in vibrational agreement with what that means for each of us. Thank you, my beloveds. Peace and blessings.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm feeling so grateful. I don't know about you, but I am feeling so grateful. And in that gratitude is a lot of energy. And when I show my gratitude out into people, into the universe, into tithing and service, doing good deeds, I'm in a flow. There's a giving and a receiving with consciousness. When I give where I'm spiritually fed on a regular basis, guess what happens? I'm a part of the automated grateful giving. I just give every month. And sometimes I increase it. When I'm feeling prosperous, I'm going to up that. I'm going to up that. That's priming the pump. That's a consciousness I give out to a community that supports me, and I continue to contribute. I show up. And that's how the universe continues to support me. It's really simple. Like today, I am receiving a Murphy bed because I thought the other day, I really could have used a Murphy bed in here because I want to make this room a studio so I can give more. Guess what happened? A Murphy bed showed up out of the blue. Hey, can I give you this Murphy bed? Why does that happen? How does that happen? Because I'm in the flow. I'm in the flow. So if we want more flow in our life, give. And I give here because I get fed here. So there's plenty of ways to give. You can go on the donate, see it says text right there. And then the website has several ways to give. You can get into the program where you give automatically. You can give one time. You can give through PayPal. Like, they're making it easy for us to be able to give. So please join me in this prayer, this gratitude prayer. I live in a universe of abundance as I freely and joyfully give. I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me, multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works, yes, for everyone. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We see a vision, a world, yes, that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We see a world that works for everyone. We see a world that works for everyone.